Navarre Raiders, stand up. Get on your feet. Mad Chow, baby. You know. Who want to rumble with the Raiders? Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Navarre Raiders, get up. Let's go. You don't want to rumble with the Raiders. You don't want to rumble with the Raiders. Yes. You want to rumble with the Raiders. Come on. Come on. You don't want to rumble with the Raiders. You don't want to rumble with the Raiders. Yes. You want to rumble with the Raiders. Come on. Hey, yo, it's lights out. Whenever they turn the lights on, enough with the talking, baby boy, the fight's on. You wanna rumble with the Raiders? Listen, it's nothing, baby, we running through you haters. And you can hate us, cause we keep chips on our shoulder. You know why we the best, but now we gotta show you. Listen, better watch how you approach us. Y'all bugs to us and we'll stump you cockroaches. Simple and plain, quit is what you should really do. Put your game...
Well, welcome to another year of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. This is Irish Bill from Culvers in downtown Navarre, just right next to Highway 98. You want to stop on in and stop into the show, or you can just stay right where you're at in the comfy confines of your own home. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. I believe it's my 5th year overall, my 2nd year at Culvers, and I want to start this year off with thanking Randy and Honey Smith for allowing me to come into their establishment so that I can bring you my show each and every Wednesday night, starting at 7 o'clock. Sometimes we'll go 45 minutes. Sometimes we'll go an hour and a half. It all depends on what we got to talk about. And we all know what happened last Friday night as the Raiders got their season back underway. And another nice victory, win number 60 for Coach Jay Walls in his 7th year. 60 and 15 overall, which is an 800 winning percentage, and that's just downright impressive. And the Raiders got off a little bit slow, but we'll talk about that. We'll break down the game a little bit here in just a little bit of time. We're going to go over the schedule here, our time frame, what we're going to be doing tonight. A recap of last Friday night's game between Catholic and Navarre. Then we're going to go over some offensive and defensive stats from that game as well. We're going to go over FloridaHighSchoolFootballs.com's latest rankings. Then we're going to break off for commercial. Then we're going to come back with Irish Bill's first edition of his Panhandle Power Rankings and my star of the week. And then we're going to go over this week's schedule. Mike Martino and I have already picked our high school and college games for this week, and we'll go over those picks. And we'll come on back. And my favorite segment is something I came up with, and it was a few years ago. I think I actually started it in my first initial show. And Navarre Raiders, where are they now? And we have, I think right now, approximately 26 players that are playing at the next level. We've had a few that have hung up the cleats, and we're going to talk about them and what direction that they've gone. And should be another interesting segment of my show. Always love Navarre former Raiders and where they are now. Then we're going to finish up with the Gulf South Conference, and then we're going to finish up and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. If you want to have me talk about a subject, you can always text in at 850-549-8387. That's 850-549-8387. And once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Our main sponsor here, bringing you the show once again, is Culvers here in downtown Navarre. Also coming on the JockJive train this year once again. We have Ursula Householder and Lux Salas Salon, University Lending Group, Navarre Quarterback Club, and a new sponsor this year. And as a Pensacola, I'm going to bring it up here so I get it exactly right. Express Professional Employment in Pensacola, and they coming aboard this year. And I'll get you their number here in just a second. And it is Express Employment Professionals in Pensacola. And you can reach them at 494-1776. And my wife Brenda Kay started out there about 4 months ago, and they come aboard. They are coming aboard this year, and hopefully we will start to build a lasting relationship with Express Employment Professionals in Pensacola. Let's go ahead and get started. Interesting game last Friday night. Both teams kind of got off to a very, very slow start in the first half, and we're going to go over the scoring plays from last Friday night's game. The Raiders got the lead at the 10-18 mark, a 31-yard pass from Garen Finley to Dante Wright. Kevin Taish with the kick, and the Raiders were up 7-0. That lead didn't last very long as Catholic came right back on an 89-yard run by, as I had it here, freshman Wayman Jordan. He broke off right tackle and one play, 89 yards, and we were tied at 7 on the extra point by Darren Bredesen. The Raiders would score right before the end of the first half at the 25.8 second mark. A 33-yard pass from Marlon Courtney to Quinn Caballero, his first touchdown of the season, and a Tate would add the extra point, and the Raiders had a 14-7 halftime lead. The Raiders would do all the scoring in the second half as the defense stood up play after play and shut the Crusaders out in the second half. At the 4:36 mark of the third quarter, a 17-yard run by Courtney. Taish's extra point was good, and the Raiders had a 21-7 lead. Right as time expired at the end of the third quarter, Jaden Antonio scored on a 1-yard run. Taish added the extra point, and it was 28-7 heading into the fourth quarter. Only one touchdown in the fourth quarter. That was a 38-yard pass from Courtney to Wright. Taish with the kick, and the Raiders would go on to win 35-7 and hand Coach Jay Walls his 60th win in his 75th game. Unofficial stats, actually these are official stats now as I receive these from Coach Walls on Monday. Marlon Courtney in his debut for the Raiders went 12 for 16 for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Garen Finley was 1 for 4 for 31 yards and a touchdown. Passing for the Crusaders, Colin Wibbs 6 of 15 for 34 yards and an interception. The Navarre rushing attack would carry the ball 40 times for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chris Williams led the way with 19 carries for 113 yards. Josh Carter added 6 carries for 28 yards. Jaden Antonio 9 carries for 24 yards and a score. Marlon Courtney 2 carries for 15 yards and a score. Garen Finley 3 carries for 8 yards. Dante Wright 1 carry for -2. 40 carries, 186 yards, and 2 scores. For Catholic, 114 yards on the ground on 26 carries. Wayman Jordan led the way, 6 carries for 114 yards and a score. Nathan Williams, 3 carries for 25. Jacoby Jackson, 6 carries for 18. Demarius McGee, 1 for -5. Seth Wilson, 4 carries for -16 yards. And Colin Wibbs, 6 carries, -22 yards as the Raider defensive line stopped the rushing attack of Catholic all night long. Navarre's receiving corps, 13 receptions, 216 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Tyler England led the way in his first varsity game for the Raiders with 6 receptions for 87 yards. Dante Wright pitched in 4 receptions for 87 yards and 2 scores. And Quinn Caballero, 3 receptions for 42 yards and a score. Catholic receiving, Nathan Williams, 1 for 18. Demarius McGee, 2 for 10. Alexandre Joseph, 2 receptions for 7 yards. Dennis McGow, 1 reception for -1 yard. The Navarre defense was led by Nathan Cruz, corner for Navarre. He had 7 tackles. Josh Carter pitched in 6. Matthew Downey with 5. Alex Gilchrist with 5 tackles, a caused fumble, a sack, and 2 tackles for loss. Cameron Thomas, 4 tackles and a tackle for loss. Mitchell Hunt, 3 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hurry. Jordan Jefferson, 3 tackles, which included 3 tackles for loss. Peyton Law, 3 tackles and a tackle for loss. Zach Markey, 2 tackles, as well as Xavier Thomas with a tackle and a quarterback hurry. Isaiah Hayward pitched in 2 tackles and a quarterback hurry. Evan Gorley, 1 tackle. Gabe Davis with an interception, and Grady Kelly, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hurry. The Raiders kicking game, Kevin Taish, 5 for 5 on extra points, and Navarre punting, Tyler England 3 punts with a 37-yard average and 1 inside the 20 for England. Very impressive performance by England in his first varsity game. And the Raiders would amass 402 yards on the night as they split it up between 168 yards on the ground and 216 through the air. And we've already gone over all the defensive stats here. And now it's time to move on in the show. And we're going to go, just released earlier this morning, as a Florida High School Footballs.com rankings. And we're going to start out with 6A because that's what affects most of our teams here in the Panhandle. We have 12 teams from Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa County that fall into Class 6A. So we're going to go with the 6A rankings, which it actually has 3 teams from the Panhandle. Miami Carroll City is your top team, followed by Miami Central and Miami Northwestern, followed by Vanguard. Navarre comes in at number 5. Armwood Seffner at number 6. St. Augustine at 7. Naples comes in at 8. Crestview at 9. And Escambia at 10. And Tate received honorable mention. So 4 teams in the top 14 hail from the Panhandle of Florida. Let's move down to Class 5A, which includes a team of West Florida. And they come in at number 7 after they lost a tough one last Friday night. We'll go over that score here in just a minute when we do a rundown of the scores from last Friday night and games on into this week. Your top team in 5A, Trinity Christian out of Jacksonville. Cardinal Gibbons is number 2. American Heritage Plantation, number 3. Godby, 4. Bowles, 5. Rockledge, 6. Hardy at 8. Zephyr Hills at 9. And Baker County comes in at number 10. And that covers 5A. And we have 4A teams as well, but none of our actually, we do not have any we do have 4A teams. Yes, we have a half dozen 4A teams here in the Panhandle. And 4A is Cocoa, Rains, Booker T. Washington, University School out of Fort Lauderdale, and Monsignor Pace. In 3A, you have Clearwater Central Catholic, Chaminade Madonna, Florida High out of Tallahassee comes in at number 3. American Heritage out of Delray at 4. Kings Academy out of West Palm in number 5. Class 2A, Champagnat out of Hialeah. North Florida Christian out of Tallahassee. University Christian out of Jacksonville. Victory Christian out of Lakeland, and Foundation Academy out of Winter Gardens. And Class 1A, Madison County, Pahokee, Bluntstown, Port St. Joe, and Baker. And also an honorable mention goes to Vernon. So there's your 6A on down to Class 1A. And those all represent all the teams that we have here in the Panhandle of Florida. We have some 7A teams over in the Big Bend region, but I don't cover those unless those teams happen to fall within the schedules of some of the teams that the Panhandle is playing. So that covers our recap from last Friday's night game against Catholic, where the Raiders prevailed 35-7 to go 1-0 on the season. They'll be at home this Friday night to host the Washington Wildcats, and you'll be able to catch all the live action on JockJive.com with the pregame starting at 7. Kickoff slated for 7:30 this Friday night. We went over our defensive stats and offensive stats from last Friday night's game and our rankings after Week 1. We're going to go ahead and head out for commercial break. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Sit back and enjoy the show. Like I said, if you have any questions or want to provide any comments, please text in at 850-549-8387. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Craig Culver of Culvers. Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culvers, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Ursula Householder of Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is your householder in Navarre. Buying or selling, Ursula will make it easy. Ursula moved here almost 20 years ago and fell in love with the white sandy beaches. She has raised her children in Navarre, went to study at universities with academic scholarships, and both are successful adults. Ursula is a big supporter of the Navarre Raiders. Ursula has been a realtor since 2003, and Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate offers her the most advanced tools available in the industry. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a savvy investor, she will negotiate a deal for you. For a free buyer consultation, a free comparable market analysis of your home, and to see if you qualify for one of the rewards programs, call Ursula Householder at 850-642-5711. Send an email to ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is a subsidiary of NRT LLC. Are you a friend of JockJive on Facebook? Do you follow us on Twitter? Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? If you aren't, don't, and haven't, please do. We are growing exponentially and want you to keep up with us. Plus, we want to stay in touch with you. So go to the homepage of JockJive.com to like us, follow us, and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll jock and roll together. Lux Solar Salon and Spa is an Aveda salon connecting beauty, environment, and well-being. The salon is located in Navarre off Highway 98 at Ortega. The team at Lux Solis specializes in hair design, color, botanical hair therapy, styling, skincare, makeup, facials, body treatments, and massage therapy. Spa packages are available for a fabulous Aveda experience. Bridal services are also available with advance notice. Aveda products are cruelty-free, and nothing is ever tested on animals. Lux Solis schedules appointments 6 days a week. Find us on Facebook at Lux Solis Salon and Spa. Call 939-9229. University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322. JockJive.com. We are literally taking the world by storm. Last year, more than 3,000 cities worldwide turned into our coverage of football, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball. From T-ball to the NCAA Division I athletics, JockJive crews have traveled this nation to provide you the finest in sports coverage. So the next time you need the spotlight glaring on your sports venture, think JockJive.com. Maybe not the only internet sports channel, but the best one. Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on JockJive.com.
One company is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Sounds like a big number, doesn't it? Not to express employment professionals seeking a skilled labor position or administrative work. Maybe you're an executive looking for a career that fits. Good morning, everyone. We take pride in connecting the right people with the right company. Express Employment Professionals is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Let us help. We'll open doors for you. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're here in segment 2 of our show. And we've already gone over a recap of last week's game, the offensive and defensive stats, and FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com's latest rankings here in the state of Florida. Now it's time to move off to our second segment, where we'll have Super 7 Power Rankings and our Star of the Week, this week's schedule. Then we'll go over Mike's and I's pick between our high school games coming up this Friday night and our games coming up. Actually, we got some college games starting off tomorrow night, I believe, and on into the weekend. And I love it. And just this I'm like a young kid in a candy store. This is my favorite time of the year, and I get to actually come on and talk about football and talk about our community that we have here in Navarre, and I get to talk about some of our former Raiders that are doing some great things out at the colleges here throughout the Southwest, and venturing out into California and up into Iowa as well. But we'll get back to that later on when we do our Where Are They Now. But we've had our first text in tonight, and my good friend, my good buddy I've known for quite a while over in Niceville, Joe Settle has checked in once again. And Joe tries to check in each and every Wednesday night, Joe, and I appreciate your patronage of JockJive.com. And he goes, I'll always watch and I'll support it. And I thank you very much for that, Joe. Thanks for checking in once again. And now it's time to go over to Irish Bills Super 7. We had a change at the top. I did my preseason last week, and I actually had West Florida at number 1. Navarre came in at number 2. I had Niceville at 3. I had Crestview at 3, Niceville at 4, Gulf Breeze at 5. I had Tate at 6 and Escambia at 7. But it changed up a little bit with a couple of losses, and we'll go over those scores here. Crestview moves up to the top spot. They move up with a 68-0 shellacking of Bay last Friday night. And one thing that was very impressive that came from this game, other than Jay Stanton's 4 touchdowns and 176 yards on 9 carries, was the Crestview defense held Bay to minus 23 yards total offense. And get this, folks, Bay did not register a first down throughout the whole game. And that tells you how rock solid that defense is over there. Coach Tim Hatton at Crestview and the Bulldogs. They'll come calling to Bennett C. Russell Stadium next Friday night. And what a game that will be between Navarre and Crestview. They were supposed to play last year up at Crestview, but unfortunately that game got weathered out and was never made up. So they'll re-engage their series here next Friday night at Bennett C. Russell Stadium. They are my number 1 team in this week's Irish Bills Panhandle Power Rankings Super 7 style. Number 2, Navarre stays at number 2. They're 1-0 as they beat Catholic 35-7. Escambia jumps from 7 to 3 as they beat West Florida 23-20. Gulf Breeze steady as usual as they take out Pascagoula, Mississippi 48-15. West Florida falls to number 5 as they lost to Escambia. Niceville falls to number 6 as they lost to Lincoln. They had a 15-7, I believe 15-7 halftime lead, and they were held to 4 total yards in the second half. And Lincoln came back and won that game 27-15. Tate actually dropped a spot despite beating Choctaw 28-21. Our honorable mentions this week: Mosley, a solid 49-0 winner over Walton. Pine Forest took out Pensacola 27-6. Pace proves to 1-0 as they beat Fort Walton 30-20 on the road. Choctaw fell to Tate, so they fall out of my honorable mentions. They are replaced by Milton, a 38-15 winner over Washington. And Baker 1-0 as they beat Holmes County 35-0. My star of the week, if you read anything about what's going on in Pensacola with the Escambia football these days, there's one young man that plays both sides of the ball for the Gators. And but what a game I'm going to talk about is the game that he had on the offensive side of the ball. And that is running back Frank Pizant, who rushed for 294 yards on 30 carries. He had 2 touchdowns in their 23-20 win over West Florida last Friday night. So congratulations goes out to running back Frank Pizant from Escambia High. We had a lot of other great performances throughout the Panhandle last weekend. And you're probably wondering, well, how do they make my noteworthy performances? Well, here's my criteria. At quarterback, you have to either pass for 125-plus yards, or you have a combination of 200 yards passing and receiving. As a running back, the criteria 100-plus yards rushing. As at wide receiver, 85 yards plus receiving. On defense, you have to have at least 10-plus tackles or multiple interceptions or sacks or quarterback hurries or tackles for losses. And that's the criteria on defense. And I'm a little bit tougher on the kickers and the punters, but to reach my noteworthy performances for kickers, you have to have 5-plus extra points. And for punters, you have to average at least 40-plus yards on the punts. And we'll throw in field goals as well, but that is not part of the equation, but we'll throw that in there. If a guy has a great night kicking field goals, we're going to mention it here, because kicking at the high school level is not always sunshine and lollipops, but for the most part, these guys do a great job. As a father that has a son as a kicker, it's some interesting moments as a kicker in high school. But that's my criteria. And now let's talk about the players that meet that criteria. Our quarterbacks, we're going to start out with Tate quarterback Hunter Riggin, 15 of 24, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, 13 carries, and 104 yards, and a touchdown. Navarre's Marlon Courtney, 12 of 16 for 185 yards, 2 scores, 1 pick, and he had 2 carries for 15 yards and a touchdown. Pine Force's Ladarius Clardy, 11 of 16 for 160 yards and a touchdown, and he also carried the ball for 73 yards on 12 carries. Baker's quarterback Peyton Rockwell, 5 of 5, 142 yards and a score, 3 carries for 31 yards and a 2-point conversion. For Mosley, Michael Maddox, 4 of 7 for 135 yards, 3 TDs, 1 carry for 17 yards. Gulf Breezes Dylan Kelly, nice combined game. He actually fell about a yard short on the 200-yard combination, but I threw it in there because he threw in 4 touchdowns, 2 through the air and 2 on the ground, 5 of 8, 112 yards through the air, 5 carries, 87 yards on the ground. Let's move over to the running backs. Pace's Damian Bivens. I love watching this young man carry the rock for Pace. Usually, if he's on the field, you're going to see 200-plus yards and probably anywhere from 30 to 35 carries, maybe even 40 last year he had against Navarre. I think he had almost 40 carries last year against Navarre, if not more. 21 carries, 227 yards, and 3 TDs. Rutherford running back James Caldwell, 21 carries, 216 yards, and a score. Bozeman's Hunter Kruger, 8 carries, 199 yards, and 3 TDs. Chipley's Andrew Lawton, 33 carries, 192 yards, 2 scores. He also had 1 reception for 16 yards and a 2-point conversion. Crestview's Jay Stan, we've already talked about. The Sneeds' Cortavius Garrett, 8 carries, 172 yards, and a score. Arnold's Jerry Hardrick, 20 carries, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Pine Forest's Anwar Lewis. This is a young man, maybe miniature in stature, but this young man has some great moves, and he's quick, and if he finds a hole, he's going to be through it, and you're going to be looking at his backside as he goes towards the end zone. That's Anwar Lewis, 14 carries, 149 yards, and a TD. Baker's Junior McLaughlin, 14 carries, 130 yards, and 2 scores. Gulf Breezes Tyler Detmer, 18 carries, 126 yards, and 2 TDs. Tyler coming off a 2,000-plus season his junior year. Taylor County Decorian Bellamy, 19 carries, 121 yards. Sneed's Calvin Stringer, 15 carries, 116 yards, and 4 scores. Julie Prevet checking in. Thanks, Julie, for checking in tonight. Says, go Navarre. Julie, another big supporter of Navarre football and Irish Bill's Twist on Sports on JockJive. Actually, a big supporter of JockJive.com. And let's move back over to the running backs. Derek Peoples Jr. from Baker. He pitched in 3 carries for 115 yards and a score. Catholic's Wayman at Jordan, 5 carries, 114 yards and a score. Navarre's Chris Williams, 18 carries for 113 yards. And West Florida's Keyshawn Swanson, 4 carries, 110 yards and a TD. On to the wide receivers. We have a pair of Tate receivers. Spencer Ruiz, 9 receptions, 140 yards and a score. Patrick Palmer, 3 receptions for 103 yards and a score. For Baker, Bradley Inscore, 3 catches for 99 yards. And a pair of Raiders come in at number 4 and 5. Dante Wright with 4 catches, 87 yards and 2 scores. And Tyler England, 6 receptions, 87 yards. Time to move over to the defense. Sneed's Sescott leads the area in tackles this past week. It was 17. Dalton Rutherford from Bay pitches in 16 tackles and a caused fumble. Chipley's Zach Wilson, 15 tackles and 4 tackles for loss. West Florida's Antarius Moultrie, 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack. Niceville's Mikkel Coward with 14 tackles. Bloodstown's Kentrell Lawson with 13. Got a lot of outstanding performances. I'm on to page 2 now. Niceville's Peyton Curley with 13 tackles. Rutherford's Montel Bowie with 13. 3 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. Pine Forest's Martin Emerson, 12 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 passes defended. Niceville's Mark Graff with 12 tackles and an interception. Mosley's Derek Harris with 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Pine Forest's Mitrez Rawls, 11 tackles. Rutherford's Bryson Short with 11 tackles. Arnold's Terry Byers with 11 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Gulf Breeze's London Paris with 2 interceptions. Arnold's Tyrene Jarman pitches in 2 interceptions as well. And we've already talked about the Crestview defense as they held Bay to minus 23 yards total offense and had no first downs in that game. And we'll finish up only 2 kickers and 1 punter meet my criteria this week. Crestview's Taylor Dahlgren, 8 of 10 on extra points. And Navarre's Kevin Tate, 5 of 5 on extra points. And Niceville's punter Logan Beatty had 8 punts, and he averaged 41.1, and he had 2 inside the 20. And there's Irish Bill's Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings. Crestview at 1, Navarre 2, Escambia 3, Gulf Breeze 4, West Florida 5, Niceville 6, and Tate comes in at number 7. And your star of the week hails from Escambia High, running back Frank Pizant. And there you go. And now it's time to move on along as the show. As I like one of my favorite shows that I listen to a comedy on YouTube every week is the Manitowoc Minute. This guy is hilarious. He's from Wisconsin, and one of his favorite sayings is "keep her moving." I love using that phrase that he used. So we're gonna keep her moving. And we're going to move over to last week's scores. And we had a bunch of them last week, 23 in all. Tate beat Choctaw 28-21. Gulf Breeze 48-15 over Pascagoula. We've already went over the Lincoln score. Pine Forest over Pensacola 27-6. The Crestview score we've already went over. Milton 38, Washington 15. Pace 30 for Walton Beach 20. Arnold 43, South Walton 9. Mosley 49-0 over Walton. Chipley 24, Mariana 10, Leon 14, Gadsden County 13, Taylor County 10-0 over Bradford, Rutherford 55-17 over North Bay Haven, Rocky Bayou over Sherwood Christian Academy 27-14, FAMU over Franklin County 30-6, Baker over Holmes County 35-0, Bozeman 43, Liberty County 7, Blountstown 43, Graceville 0. Flomaton, Alabama, 27, J 0. Northview in the win column with a 46-20 win over Lighthouse Pensacola Christian Academy. And Sneed's 32, Cottondale 16, Dixie County 50, Jefferson County 21. And we've already went over the Port St. Joe score 35-0. And I got a little text in from Joe. We're going to see what Joe has. Joe Settle from Niceville checking in once again. So most of Niceville's punts were very bad snaps, yet he still got off some amazing punts. That he did, Joe, averaging 41.1 and 2 inside the 20. What a great night there. And, well, there's our scores from last week. And we're going to move right along to this week's schedule. And then we'll go over the picks that Mike and I, unfortunately, something that did not happen very often last year is Mike struggled a little bit with the picks of his high school games. But unfortunately, last week, Mike had his best week, and we'll go over his record and my record from last week. And this game's coming up this week. Fort Walton Beach at Arnold, Archbishop Shaw, Louisiana at Escambia, Milton at Choctaw, St. Martin's, Mississippi at Crestview, Gulf Breeze at Catholic. There's a rivalry there. Across the bridge rivalry. Washington at Navarre, East Ridge at Niceville, Pensacola at Pace, West Florida at Tate, Mosley at Gadsden County, South Walton at Walton in the Battle of Walton County, Vernon at Baker, Bluntstown at Florida High. That should be a good game between two really good teams. Clearwater Academy International at Taylor County, Bozeman at Holmes County, Flomaton, Alabama at Northview, Chipley at Graceville, Jay at Cottondale, Franklin County at North Bay Haven, Sneeds at Jefferson County, Liberty County at FAMU, Port St. Joe at Mariana, Rocky Bayou at Snook Christian Academy, and Weewaw at Lighthouse PCA. And that's your games. And now we're gonna talk about who took in these games. My good friend Tim Keene checking in. He's said pumped up for Friday night. Get ready to rumble with the Raiders. Washington, we ready for you. Thanks, Tim, for checking in. And Mike and I both going with Arnold over Fort Walton Beach. Scambia as well over Archbishop Shaw. Mike is taking Milton in against Choctaw, and I'm going with the Indians at home. St. Martin's at Crestview. Both of us going with the Bulldogs at home. Gulf Breeze at Catholic. Gulf Breeze in the win column for both of us. Both of us taking Navarre over Washington, as well as Niceville over East Ridge, Pace over Pensacola. Mike's taking Tate at home against West Florida. I'm going with the Jaguars. There's no way that Jaguar team is going 0-2 to start the season. Both of us taking Mosley over Gadsden County. Mike's taking South Walton over Walton. I'm taking the home team Walton. Vernon has their first game on the season, but unfortunately they're going to Baker, and Baker doesn't lose at home very often. And we'll get to that in just a second. Julie checking in. What is our prediction for UWF game as they kick off tomorrow night? The Argonauts will host Carson Newman, as we'll go over that. And when we get to the Gulf South Conference portion of this show, and I'll let you know who I'm going to take in that game as well. Clearwater International, we're both going with Taylor County. Bluntstown at Florida High. Mike's taking Bluntstown. I'm going Florida High. We're both taking Chipley over Graceville. I'm going with Flomaton over Northview. Mike's going with the home team Northview. And my good friend Derek Marshman, the head coach at Northview. Sorry, Derek, I got to go with Flomaton. They looked pretty solid last week against Jay. We're both going with Cottondale over Jay, and North Bay Haven over Franklin County, Freeport over Park Liberal Art. We're both taking Sneeds on the road at Jefferson County, as well as FAMU at home against Liberty County. Port St. Joe over Mariana. We're both going with the Tiger Sharks, and we're both going with Snook Christian Academy out of Alabama over Rocky Bayou, and both going with Weewaw. One of my favorites go Weewaw Hitchka, but they're known as the Weewaw Gators, and they're on the road at Lighthouse. The Lighthouse schedule is pretty interesting. They have their first 4 games at home, and then that's it. Their last 6 games are on the road. So, interesting schedule there for Lighthouse. So, Mike went 20-3 last week, and I went 18-5. So, after week 1, Mike has a 2-game lead, and I'll see what I can do to catch him this week coming up. And now let's move over to our college games coming up. We're going to talk about all the ranked teams in the top 25, and then we're going to add an extra game because it's in the South, and I make all the rules, so I'll add whatever games I want. So we're going to start 30 August tomorrow night. UCF looks to go for their, I believe that will be their 14th straight victory tomorrow night, as they were the only undefeated school last year. They finished 13-0. And as far as I know, it's working tonight. And got a Frank Hunt checking in. And we are live on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. And let's get back to, we're both going with UCF over Connecticut. Western Kentucky at number 4, Wisconsin, Friday night. We're both going with the Badgers. Utah State at number 11, Michigan State. The Sparties at home for both of us. San Diego State at number 13, Stanford. And now we're going to move on to Saturday. Ole Miss and Texas Tech. This is the only game that is not in the top 25. They'll be playing in Houston. Mike is going with Ole Miss, and I'm going with Texas Tech Raiders. Red Raiders. West Virginia, number 17, versus Tennessee. They're playing in Charlotte. We're both going with the West Virginia Mountaineers. The number 6, Washington, versus number 9, Auburn in Atlanta. Is Auburn going to get their first victory in Atlanta? They went 0-2 in 2017. Mike thinks so, as he's going with Auburn. But I'm going with the Huskies of Washington coming in to make Auburn go 0-3 in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Austin Peay at Georgia, number 3. Bulldogs in a rout. Number 14, one of the interesting matchups of the weekend. Number 14, Michigan at number 12, Notre Dame. Mike going with Michigan. Of course, I got to go with my Irish Bill. I grew up 60 miles from the Notre Dame campus. That's why I go by Irish Bill. Southern University at number 16, TCU. No contest there for TCU. Oregon State at Ohio State. So it's a battle of OSU. And one of those teams is without their head coach. Will that make a difference? I think not. And neither does Mike. Is Ohio State big over Oregon State? Oklahoma over Florida Atlantic. Number 7, Oklahoma. We're both going with the Sooners. Number 23, Texas at Maryland. With all the issues that they're going on at Maryland. We're not going to talk about that. But it's going to be Texas. And I think it'll be a rather comfortable win for the Longhorns. Furman at number 2, Clemson. I think not Furman. We're both going with number 2, Clemson. Appalachian State at Penn State, number 10 at Penn State, both going with the Nittany Lions. UNLV at number 15, USC. The Trojans continue to march on. Number 22, Boise State on the road at Troy. This is going to be an interesting contest coming up in Troy, Alabama this weekend. But we're both going with the Boise State team from Idaho in that one. Stephen F. Austin at number 19, Mississippi State. We're going with Mississippi State. Bowling Green at number 24, Oregon. All over Oregon over Bowling Green. And Louisville at number 1, Alabama. I never say it, and you can't make me say it. I'm not going to say it, but I am going. We're both going with Alabama, rather large against Louisville. And one thing in football is, if you're a big underdog, the last thing that you need to do is start giving the other team that is favored locker room bulletin material. And Louisville has a couple of players that have done just that. And I think Alabama is going to make them pay for that. And but Alabama big in that one. Then we're going to move over to Sunday. And number 8, Miami versus number 25, LSU in Dallas. And I'm going with Miami, and Mike's going with LSU because that is his team. And on Monday night, week 1 will be capped off with number 20, Virginia Tech, at number 19, FSU. And both Mike and I are going with the Seminoles. So there's your games coming up this week. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culvers. Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culvers, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Ursula Householder of Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is your householder in Navarre. Buying or selling, Ursula will make it easy. Ursula moved here almost 20 years ago and fell in love with the white sandy beaches. She has raised her children in Navarre, went to study at universities with academic scholarships, and both are successful adults. Ursula is a big supporter of the Navarre Raiders. Ursula has been a realtor since 2003, and Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate offers her the most advanced tools available in the industry. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a savvy investor, she will negotiate a deal for you. For a free buyer consultation, a free comparable market analysis of your home, and to see if you qualify for one of the rewards programs, call Ursula Householder at 850-642-5711. Send an email to ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Caldwell Banker Residential Real Estate is a subsidiary of NRT LLC. Lux Solar Salon and Spa is an Aveda salon, connecting beauty, environment, and well-being. The salon is located in Navarre off Highway 98 at Ortega. The team at Lux Solis specializes in hair design, color, botanical hair therapy, styling, skincare, makeup, facials, body treatments, and massage therapy. Spa packages are available for a fabulous Aveda experience. Bridal services are also available with advance notice. Aveda products are cruelty-free, and nothing is ever tested on animals. Lux Solis schedules appointments 6 days a week. Find us on Facebook at Lux Solis Salon and Spa. Call 939-9229. University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322. Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on JockJive.com.
One company is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Sounds like a big number, doesn't it? Not to express employment professionals seeking a skilled labor position or administrative work. Maybe you're an executive looking for a career that fits. Good morning, everyone. We take pride in connecting the right people with the right company. Express Employment Professionals is on a mission to put 1 million people to work each year. Let us help. We'll open doors for you. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Welcome back to Culvers in downtown Navarre. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Before we go any further, you know what I haven't mentioned so far this evening? As the owner of JockJive, owner and president of JockJive, Robert Williamson. I met Robert, I believe, about 7 or 8 years ago. He was introduced by a mutual friend. And Robert has allowed me to run and do and get the Navarre broadcasting up and running. And I thank Robert every day for allowing me to do what I love to do, is bring you Navarre football and my show on Wednesday nights. And Robert has pretty much given me that avenue to run things as I want. But I want to thank Robert once again for allowing me to run with my passion, and it is sports, and especially Navarre Raider football in this awesome community of ours here. Well, let's get back to our show, and Robert never stays to home either. That man is one of the busiest people I've ever met in my life. and this is I believe my 5th year, my 2nd year here at Culvers. Thanks, Randy and Honey, for bringing me in once again. And my favorite segment is former Navarre Raiders. Where are they now? Before we go over the list of names that are currently playing, there are some Navarre players that have hung them up and are no longer playing football anymore. I want to talk about Jacob Kendall. He graduated last year from Millsaps. Jacob, a 4-year player over at Millsaps. Kane Adamson played 1 year at Maryville College in Maryville, Tennessee. Injuries and the wear and tear as Kane has decided to go another route, and he's getting into HVAC, and a great idea, and I love doing the games where Kane played. Always a dual threat with his arm and his leg. No longer going to be lacing them up on Saturdays. Anthony Miller, due to injury, is not playing this year as well. He played the last 2 years out at Allen Hancock Community College in California. And injuries did not allow him to go out again this season and look for a new school. So Anthony Miller moving on for now. And I'm looking through here as one person that's taken a hiatus from this year, Royce Thomas, who played with my son Brady at Shorter. They both decided to transfer out of Shorter. Royce is going to junior college here in Pensacola. He's going to Pensacola State College. Then they'll be going off to junior college in January. So best of luck to him as he finds his new location where he's going to be going. And I'm trying to remember who else I've had taken off here. If it comes to me, as I'm going through my list, I'll let you know. We got some players and some new faces. Like I said, we've had some transfers. And we have a new class of upcoming freshmen from the Raiders as they'll be playing abroad here in the Southeast. And let's start it off. Our lone NFL player, Jordan Leggett, who missed of all of 2017 campaign with an injury. He's back healthy, and hopefully he'll be going for the Jets. They start their season at Detroit on 10 September kickoff, and that's Jordan Leggett for the New York Jets. A graduate transfer. This is a young man that graduated from Lehigh. He now will be playing at Middle Tennessee State, and that's wide receiver Gatlin Casey. They'll get their games underway at Vanderbilt next Saturday night. Got quite a few listed, starting to be Navarre North. Huntington College offensive lineman Chris Herring, named one of the 4 captains for the Hawks going into this season. They'll be on the road at Guilford, noon kickoff next Saturday. He'll be joined by former Raider Mark Struck, also known as Ryan Struck. Huntington College quarterback Sage Chambers. Unfortunately, Sage tore his labrum, so he will be redshirted this season. Hate to see that with a young man with a lot of great potential there. Huntington College quarterback Sage Chambers. Also at Huntington College, wide receiver Sam Register. Huntington College offensive lineman Daryl Hickson. Huntington College long snapper Garrett Schluter. And a former Raider. He did not play his senior year at Navarre, but he played up till his junior year. And that's Huntington College running back Chandler Cooper. There's your all 6 Raiders. And I just remember one name that graduated last year, and that was Demetrius Brown. He attended Huntington. He graduated last year. I think is still living in the Montgomery area. Kennesaw State defensive end Kyle Airosmith will be a redshirt junior this year. Trinity Bible College wide receiver Alex Watley, he'll be a redshirt junior as well. They've already played one game. Unfortunately, they lost 56-0 to Culvers Stockton last weekend. Their next game is this Saturday, as they will be playing at Indiana Wesleyan. Actually, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And Kennesaw State will be playing at Georgia State on a Friday night. Let's move down to Birmingham Southern defensive back Dylan Main. He'll be a senior this year. They get their season underway Friday night, a 6 p.m. kickoff against LaGrange, Georgia. Tommy Leggett, he moved from Allen Hancock after his freshman year, and he transferred to Texas Tech. He will be eligible this year, and Tommy will be a defensive back for the Red Raiders at Texas Tech. He'll be a redshirt sophomore. Their first game is against Ole Miss in Houston this coming Saturday. University of West Florida wide receiver Quentin Randolph. He'll be a redshirt junior at West Florida, the number 2 team, the runner-up to the national title in Division II, and only their second year. And they'll be hosting number 22 Carson Newman tomorrow night at 6 p.m. kickoff. So if you aren't doing anything and the place isn't sold out, which it very well could be with the success that they've had in their 2-year program, head on out to the stadium, Blue Wahoo Stadium out there. And Brady Hamill, kicker, not as short of this year. He has transferred to Miles College in Birmingham, and they'll get their season underway this Saturday evening in Huntsville as they take on FCS school Alabama A&M at 6 p.m. kickoff on Saturday night. Maryville College linebacker Bo Herring, he'll be a sophomore. They'll be at Berry College, very tough team in Rome, Georgia, this Saturday at 6. University of North Carolina running back Michael Carter will be a sophomore. Unfortunately, Michael is out with a wrist injury. He broke his wrist, broke his hand, and he'll be out at least. He'll miss probably the first 2 weeks of the season. But they're starting their first game at California on the 1st at 4 p.m. kickoff. And then Auburn University offensive lineman Nick Brahms was redshirt last year. He'll be a redshirt freshman this year. And they're getting things going underway. Number 6, Washington in Atlanta on Saturday at 3:30 kickoff. Sam Houston State wide receiver Tevin Stevenson, and he'll be a redshirt freshman. Their first game is against Prairie View on the 8th of September. Florida Tech defensive back Tyson Brown, also redshirt last year. They'll be starting their season at Benedict College in South Carolina on Saturday at 6. And Josh Doxey transferred. He's out to College of Sequoias, back where he back to California, where he spent a lot of his time growing up. And he'll be a redshirt freshman, or he'll be a freshman. He did not play at all last year, so he might be a true freshman coming into this season. Their first game is on Saturday against Feather River. Upper Iowa University, Aaron Mitchell, the linebacker, will be a redshirt freshman this year. Their first game is against Augustana. Ava Marie University offensive lineman LaMarcus Smith, he's a sophomore. They already played their game last week. They beat Point Georgia 17-5. Next game will be at Lindsey Wilson in Kentucky this Saturday afternoon at 2:30. And we have a couple of walk-ons that will be at Troy this year. A wide receiver, Jordan Williams, a walk-on freshman. And number 27 for Troy, the Troy Trojans, the running back, Omari Green. He'll be a walk-on freshman as well. Their first game is this Saturday against Boise State. And now we're coming down to, gosh, the show's gone by already. I mean, we're about an hour deep, and I'm almost done with the show. Not quite yet. We got to go over the 2018 Gulf South Conference. We'll go over the records from last year. They have a new member to the conference this year, and a member that had been in the league for a while that has moved up to Division I AA. West Alabama took the conference title last year as they went 7-1, 10-3 overall. West Florida went 5-3, tied with West Georgia. West Florida went 11-4 overall. West Georgia 9-4. Delta State finished 5-3 as well as they finished 9-4. Valdosta State 5-3 and 9, and I believe they finished 5-4 overall. Florida Tech 3-5, 5-6. Mississippi College 1-7, 1-9 overall. And Shorter finished 0-8, 0-11. They've lost 27 straight games. And North Alabama has left the Gulf South Conference. And new team, North Greenville, South Carolina. They went last season. They went 4-6 and 0-3. Excuse me, folks. And here's the games coming up tomorrow night. We actually have 6 games coming up on the schedule in the Gulf South Conference this week. Lenore Ryan will be at West Alabama tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. North Greenville at Tusculum at 7. Clark Atlanta at Mississippi College at 7 o'clock kickoff. Delta State at Tarleton State. Shorter at Sanford. And that game will be played in Birmingham. And Carson Newman will be at West Florida. I'm taking West Alabama, Tusculum, Clark Atlanta over Mississippi College. Delta State on the road at Tarleton State. Sanford all over Shorter. And in a very, very tight game, I have West Florida taking out Carson Newman 27-20. In our Saturday games, we'll have Catawba at West Georgia, Florida Tech at Benedict, and Albany State will be at Valdosta State. One game that's not there, that's not in this conference, and as I've already talked about, my son Brady Hamlin's transferred to Miles College, and they will be at Alabama A&M on Saturday night. And wow, the time has sure flown by. And let's go head back to the text line, see if we got anything new out there. Once again, thanks Joe Settle, Julie Prevet, Tim Keene for all checking in tonight. Joe and Julie via the text line, and Tim, as always, on Messenger on Facebook. Once again, I'd like to thank Randy and Honey Smith. And as Randy continues to battle his fight with cancer, we send our prayers to Randy and all the best to him, and thank them for allowing us to come back into their establishment so that I can bring you Irish Bill's Twist on Sports each and every Wednesday night at 7. And we finish up a brief rundown on Coach Jay Walls. He's in his 21st year as a head coach. He's 163-85 overall. He has 17 playoff appearances, 3 state runner-ups efforts, and with Navarre, he is 60-15 for an .800 winning percentage after his first 75 games in his 7th year, and hopefully many more to come here in Navarre for head coach Jay Walls. Well, I hope you have all enjoyed the show. We're going to be back again next Wednesday night, 7 o'clock p.m., so set your time, your alarm to go off a couple minutes prior to that, and we'll bring you Irish Bill's Twist on Sports once again next Wednesday night. And this Friday, I'll be at home as the Raiders will host Washington Wildcats this Friday night. And we hope, if you can't make it out the game, that you tune in to JockJive.com and catch Irish Bill's live broadcast of Navarre Raider football at 7 p.m. on the pregame and 7:30 on the kickoff. Until Friday night, may the wind ever be at your back. This is Irish Bill signing off with our favorite song.
Face on, it's about to get physical. This here's a game of strength, patience, determination, and you can never win if you lacking the motivation. And now you heard it from the source. Losing is not an option. You can hear it in our voice. We only play this game to win, and we gon' put it on the line every time and every chance we get, cause we may never get this chance again. So when you rumble with